Hola amigos y amigas de RockFM Motel, entrevista especial, invitado especial en la noche de hoy y con un disco bajo el brazo que saldrá el próximo 5 de abril, 12º de estudio de los Black Keys. Y sí, esta noche ha hecho el reservado, ha hecho el booking nuestro colega Patrick Kearney de los Black Keys, fundador y batería, junto con Dan Auerbach, el yin y el yang, el corazón y el alma de los Black Keys. Así que nos vamos hasta Akron, Ohio. Desde allí nos recibe Patrick Kearney. Patrick, welcome to Rock FM.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
El próximo 5 de abril nacerá Ohio Players, vuestro nuevo disco que será el 12º, como decía, de estudio, con un título que es un guiño total a vuestro lugar de origen y a la música funk y al grupo del mismo nombre, Ohio Players.
Yeah, you know, we were looking for a title. We had the idea, we had the image first, and I found this photo of a woman bowling from the '60s from behind, and we couldn't get a license agreement for it, so we just recreated it. And I think it was subconscious, like looking at that, you know, that's the closest we're gonna have to an Ohio Players record cover, because their record covers always had like women getting honey poured on them and things like that. So this is the closest we're gonna have. But yeah, it's a cool, I think, way to shout out Ohio.
Un estilo, el funk, que conocéis bien gracias a vuestras sesiones, como dos de vuestra colección, gracias a vuestras sesiones de colección de vinilos en 45 revoluciones por minuto. ¿Está viviendo el vinilo, Patrick, una resolución? ¿Se ha vuelto a poner de moda el vinilo?
Yeah, you know, I think I read somewhere that something like 75% of the people who buy Taylor Swift's vinyl albums don't even have a record player. But I think it just goes to show people want to have something tangible to hold still, you know, even in the age of streaming. But for me and for Dan, you know, we've been buying these 45s and old kind of rare 45s, and what those kind of represent are just these kind of lost treasures. And, you know, holding something in your hand that's 50, 60 years old, and, you know, I think, you know, there's something very magical about that, especially when you find a really good one. But yeah, I'm surrounded by albums at my house. I don't listen to them because my little kids always keep breaking the needle off my record player.
¿Cuántos vinilos tienes en casa, Patrick? ¿Cuántos vinilos podéis tener entre Dan y tú conjuntamente?
Well, I mean, I probably have 5,000 LPs and 2 or 3,000 45s, I guess.
Cool. Conocemos, metiéndonos de lleno en el nuevo disco, 3 adelantos. El último, This Is Nowhere, con la colaboración de Beck. Si algo destaca de este Ohio Players son las colaboraciones como la del propio Beck o Noel Gallagher. Háblame de ellos. ¿Cómo surgen estas colaboraciones?
Well, you know, Dan and I, we haven't collaborated that much in the studio in the past. We have with Danger Mouse, who produced 3 of our albums and co-wrote 2 of them with us. But other than that, we haven't really co-written many songs. But we did on the last album. We did a couple songs with some buddies, and that sparked, you know, our interest in that. And so we'd always talked to Beck about us potential of making music with him, and it finally came to fruition that we got him in the studio. And yeah, we ended up having a very kind of prolific experience with him, and we wrote maybe 12 songs together over the course of a couple of weeks. And then, you know, the only other guy we really collaborated with was Noel Gallagher, who was up there with Beck at the top of our list, and that was also equally as productive. We just, in 3 days, we got 3 songs with him in London. And yeah, you know, the idea of writing with these kind of rock legends, you know, I guess, you know, it kind of puts a lot of pressure on you, because you don't want to look like an idiot when you get in there with those guys. And I think, you know, you have to deliver. And I'm glad we did it now. I think if we would have done it like 20 years ago, we probably would have let the guys down. But I think we got really good stuff with them.
Desde el parón de 2015, que hacéis en 2015, y con vuestra vuelta por todo lo alto con Let's Rock, vais a lanzar 4 discos en apenas 5 años. ¿Estáis en una de vuestras etapas más creativas?
I think I think that we are. Yeah. I mean, we we made so many songs for this album. We ended up finishing about 29 songs, and then paring it down to what's on Ohio Players. Um, yeah, our issue, it kind of really never has been a lack of material. It's been about like how much time we get in the studio. There were years where we would make a record and then go tour for like 200 days, and you come out of that just exhausted, and the last thing you wanted to do was make another album because it just meant you'd have another whole
Mm.
year of being away from home. So we've been trying to figure out how to do it and not burn ourselves out and keep it fun and and feel inspired. And I think we've been doing a good job of finding that balance.
Patrick, una de las cosas que más siempre me causa pues curiosidad, ¿no?, por las bandas es cómo se hace y cómo se desarrolla el proceso de producción y creación del álbum. ¿Cómo se hace en Black Keys?
Well, yeah, Dan and I have kind of I guess we have a unique way of working that has always been the method that we've used. The first time Dan and I got together to play music, he came over to my house when we were teenagers, and I had a 4-track cassette recorder where you could record 4 different things at 4 different times and then blend them together. And I showed him how that worked and how, we could play the guitar and the drums, and then we could add bass and add singing. And from that moment on, like whenever we work, it's kind of based around that, making something, recording it, not sitting around usually and writing and practicing. It's more putting down ideas onto a recording and then building on that. So that's how we work, and that's how we always have worked.
En estos últimos discos habéis tocado muchos palos diferentes, habéis pasado por muchos estilos diferentes, desde el rock hasta el boogie, pasando por el blues, ahora el funk. ¿Con qué estilo os identificáis más? ¿Qué estilo os gusta tocar más encima de un escenario?
Yeah, Dan and I listen to all kinds of stuff from, classic rock to indie rock, soul, funk, rap. And, I think what we identify with, it's always a kind of a moving target, what we're into. But on stage, I think, playing a song and seeing the crowd, seeing it resonate with the crowd, that's what really gets you off. And so, it's like, I think that's kind of the thing, the thrill of making something that other people like, that's what we're here for.
Para vuestro último disco, Dropout Boogie, recibisteis 2 nominaciones a los Grammy, habiendo sido elogiados por toda la crítica y nombrados sucesores, ¿no?, de las grandes bandas del rock que veníamos en el siglo XX por muchos medios de comunicación. ¿Cómo lleváis esos premios y esos elogios por parte de la crítica?
Well, I think that you're only as good as your last album, and that's where that's what I've been thinking recently. And so we put a lot of time into this one. We wanted to make sure that we, crossed that 20-year threshold and release something that we were very proud of. So I think, you can't really think about what other people are saying. You just have to try to do your best.
Si volviendo al nuevo disco, hay algo que llama la atención, es la portada. ¿Por qué elegís los bolos? Esa insinuación, esa provocación, cuando vivimos en un mundo políticamente correcto, ¿cómo llegáis al final a hacer esta portada?
Yeah, I mean, I think that was the thing that was interesting to me about the image is, you know, in a lot of ways, there's nothing less provocative. It's just it's based on a photo of a woman bowling 60 years ago, and there's like really nothing more wholesome in a way than the sport of bowling. It's what we used to do with like my grandparents, but I think that
Ujú.
uh, that's what's interesting is that you know it you know what makes it provocative is your own take on it, so.
Además de vuestro siguiente disco, Ohio Players, acabas de presentar vuestro documental This is a Film About Black Keys. ¿Cómo han sido las primeras críticas? ¿Estáis contentos con él? Además, creo que habéis lanzado vuestra propia app de bowling, de bolos, para los fans, ¿no?
Oh yeah, there's a little bowling game that is like a little promo feature, but no, yeah, the documentary, yeah, that we premiered it, but it hasn't actually come out yet. Hopefully, it'll be out later this year. But yeah, the process of making that was, pretty intense. Took about 3 years for that to get made, and looking at all the old footage they found and stuff it was important for us to take part in that process, and we thought it was interesting because I think a lot of people, especially, you know, um, I thought for like, the idea if I could see a documentary like this when I was 15 and just getting into music about, what it's like to be in a band and how it worked for us, I think it would have been very powerful for me. So that was the thing that made me interested in doing the doc.
¿Qué consejo le darías a un chico o una chica que comienza a tocar la batería ahora?
I think there's a lot of advice you could give to someone, but I think the I would say the most important thing you can be doing at that age is to be listening to as much music as you can.
¿Vendréis a España a presentar vuestro nuevo disco?
We'll definitely be coming to Spain at some point. Yes, we love Spain, and we had a lot of fun playing in Madrid last summer. So yeah, we will be back.
Perfect. ¿Los invitados del disco también serán invitados en alguno de vuestros conciertos durante la gira de presentación?
I think it could be possible to get Beck and Noel to come out. I hope, they're busy guys,
Me
but
too.
it's possible. Yeah.
¿Cuál es el sitio o el escenario que más te ha gustado tocar y donde sin duda volverías a hacerlo?
Um, anytime you play a show and the crowd goes bananas, it's memorable. And we hadn't toured Europe in about 9 years until last summer, and we were constantly just reminded in basically every city just how great the European crowds are, how into music they are, um, and it made it very fun to be playing those shows. And every show we played, for the most part, sticks out, from Paris to Lisbon to Athens and Madrid, and it's a much different audience when you get in outside of the U.S. and we were happy to be there. Also, we played Mexico City this past November, and that was another very powerful moment.
Patrick, ¿cómo disfrutas más? ¿En los pequeños clubs con poquita gente donde todo es mucho más cercano o en los big shows que sueles hacer con los Black Keys en los grandes festivales a nivel mundial?
Well, the big shows can be very intense. Like it's a lot of pressure, a lot of nerves going on. But that said, the thrill is it's a very high. But the shows that won't wig you out, and you can do on a daily basis without putting yourself through it. Like, I think we played this club in Paris 2 nights last year called the Zenith. It's like 6,500 people, and that seems like it's just a really good size venue to play.
Ok, Patrick, para despedirnos, la última pregunta. ¿Quiénes fueron para ti tus referencias, tus baterías y tus músicos de referencia?
Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of drummers. There's a lot of drummers who I don't even know their names. I just know their songs. There's a lot of recordings where it's hard to figure out who the drummer was. But I think I love Al Jackson. Played a lot of Al Green stuff. I love Jeremiah Green, who just passed away last year. He was the drummer for Modest Mouse. He was really influential to me. this drummer, Russell Simmons, who played with the Blues Explosion, was hugely influential to me as well. And then, there's the legends like Bill Ward and John Bonham from Black Sabbath and Led Zeppelin, who, they're just like monsters. And it's always fun to listen to someone, who's that great. But any drumming, I'm impressed by a good groove. It doesn't need to be technical, and I'm always impressed by drummers who can make people want to move with doing the least possible amount of work. That's what I like.
Hablando de baterías, cuando te enfrentas a la producción de un disco nuevo, cuando vas a grabar un disco nuevo, ¿tienes nuevas referencias? ¿Buscas nuevos sonidos para la batería?
Yeah, when we're recording, I listen to more music than ever when we're making something. I've read and heard interviews where people say, when they're working, they don't listen to other people's music, and to me that just seems like absolutely opposite of what you should be doing. It's like if you were going to be designing a house, you probably want to be looking at a lot of houses to figure out what you want to do. And so that's what music is. It's, you're channeling your influences, and you're continuing on a tradition of other people's ideas. That's what art is, So yeah, I listen to a lot of stuff. I listen to a lot of rap when we're making music, because that's where you can find just real pure essence of groove for me.
Patrick Kearney from Black Keys, un placer tenerte con nosotros, un placer tenerte en nuestra casa. Vuelve cuando quieras. Esta es tu casa, Rock FM Motel.
Thank you so much.